Hi everyone. We have a lot of bok choy from my father-in-law's garden as well as from our community-sponsored agriculture organic farm. And so today I'm going to show you how we saute bok choy very quickly, and it is amazing. My name is Chris. I am a diabetes nurse practitioner. I want to welcome you to my plant-based kitchen where we make things healthier so we can live longer. So let's get into the bok choy. Bok choy is part of the cruciferous vegetable family. So it's just as healthy as your cauliflower, your cabbages, your broccoli, kale, Brussels sprouts, and I love all of those vegetables. So today we're gonna do bok choy. It's slightly milder and sweeter in taste. So to begin this, I'm gonna cook and saute. Typically I water saute, but I have this homemade vegetable broth that I'm gonna use. It's probably gonna sizzle. My pan has been heating up. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm gonna use my vegetable broth as my water to saute. This is pureed garlic as well as ginger. I make this ahead of time in my food processor so that when I'm cooking, it's easy for me to just grab it and use it for different dishes so I don't have to delay. Now, for my protein source, there is protein and fiber in bok choy in smaller amounts for the protein, but very high in fiber. I'm going to use Gardein, and this Gardein is actually a textured soy protein. So this is very high in protein. It also has about 5 grams of fiber per serving. So I'm going to add that into the mix here. We're going to put about half a cup of that in here. So I'm going to keep the rest of this for another dish. Put a little bit of salt and pepper in there, as well as other spices. I have Himalayan salt here, so we're gonna put just a little bit. We don't want to overwhelm this because I am gonna put a little bit of soy sauce in here as well. So for the soy sauce I'm using today, we're probably just gonna squirt about a teaspoon of Bragg's Amino right here. And this is a gluten-free soy sauce alternative. I like that for the color of it. I also like to cook this with a little bit of mirin. Now, mirin is like a sweet cooking rice seasoning. So I'm gonna put about a teaspoon of that in there as well. And what creates the umami is really a lot of flavor. So today we're gonna use some vegetable mushroom granules. I'll probably put about a teaspoon of that in there as well. And then we can always adjust the flavors later on if we need more. Now, in most of Chinese cooking, they use 5 spice. So I'm going to use 5 spice today. If you can't find this in your grocery store because it's not very easy to find, you don't have to add it. But I do kind of like a little bit of it, so just a touch of it. So that's about 1/8 of a teaspoon. So not a whole lot, but enough to kind of create a little bit of that smell, like the spice smell. And it is made from different spices. I'm gonna put a little bit of sweetener. In most of Chinese cooking, it's slightly sweet. So we're gonna bring that out a little bit by using maple syrup. And that was less than a teaspoon. It's just enough to kind of glaze my soy crumbles here. So do you see that? I mean, this vegetable cooks very, very quickly. And you don't need a lot of oil. Now, you could always glaze this with a little bit of sesame oil at the very end. That is acceptable. You can put pepper flakes in here if you want to. My family doesn't care for spicy stuff. So what I tend to do is that when I start eating, that's when I put my chili oil or my sriracha for my own self. Okay. So we have that cooking. And you can see that our water is already starting to get absorbed. Then we're gonna put our bok choy in here. There is a lot of water in the bok choy. We're gonna start with the stems here, and then we're gonna add the rest of the green leaves in just a bit. And you can see that this thing really cooks very quickly. Now, if you feel like it's gonna dry up before it starts cooking, you could always add a little bit more liquid. these white parts are very water dense, and so I'm gonna cook off a little bit of the water in there so it kind of shrinks a little bit, and then we're gonna add our leaves, because once you put the leaves in, you only need about 1 or 2 minutes to finish cooking it up. So you don't really need to cook it for very long. Very nice. Okay, so when we come back in about 1 or 2 minutes, I'll show you what it looks like. Welcome back. So this has been cooking for about a couple of minutes, maybe practically like around 3 minutes. You can see, I did put it on a little bit higher temperature, that the white parts of the bok choy has now kind of shrunk up a little bit. Now let's put the rest of the greens in there. And then we can always flavor this again if we need to. This is really easy. The longest part of this is really just washing the vegetables and as well as chopping them up. But you know, if you do what I do, where I prepare my garlic and ginger ahead of time and it's a puree, and I do store it with a little bit of rice vinegar to basically preserve it, then you can just, you know, open up that bottle and then use it whenever you need to. It lasts in my fridge for about 2 weeks. You see that? I just love this. Now to add more color to this, so we're gonna watch this now. It will wilt very, very quickly. So to add just a tiny bit of color to this so that it's not very pale, what I'm gonna do is add this dark mushroom seasoning in here. And a little bit goes a very long way, so don't use too much. Okay, here we go. And I think that's a tad more than what I want to use. You can see how dark that is, right? Yeah. So it just adds a little bit more pizzazz to your vegetables. Okay, let me turn this off. Here you go, folks. And make sure you taste this before you serve it to your family. It is rather hot, so I'm not gonna taste it right now, but how beautiful is that and how easy it is to make it. So I hope you make this at home. Try a different kind of cruciferous vegetable. They're all beautiful and they're wonderful depending on what you want to eat. I like eating this with like a side of rice, but I'm Asian, so we tend to eat rice. So I make like white rice mixed with red rice, or black rice mixed with red rice or brown rice. So we can use this as a main dish or as well as a side dish. You can do whatever you want. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that you will join us again on our next video.